You get a additional live box next to the recording if it's streaming.
Okay, as ever, the meeting notes document is there. If you'd like to add your attendance, please. Okay, I think we will get started. I know a lot of people are at the Open Source Summits. I'm here and speaking in an hour or so. So with a slightly lighter attendance than usual, we'll run through the meeting and then open the floor. If anyone would like to suggest any topics, do feel free. And just a reminder that this meeting is being recorded and posted to YouTube shortly after. Your participation in these meetings is an agreement to abide by the Cloud Native Security Code of Conduct, which can be found in the repo. Normally, we would ask someone to volunteer as scribe, but I think I can probably manage today. For existing members and working group representatives, please remember to include your organization or company along with the working group you're involved with and the update. And just browsing through, there are no immediate updates. Let's have a quick look at the current issues in the repo. Screen here. Okay. So what has been updated in the last week or so? We have got Kubevela, which, as with many cloud native projects, I'm not entirely sure that I've pronounced correctly. Okay, so they have submitted themselves for a security review. Right, I think we did see this previously, actually. I have not used this platform. Can anyone shed any further lights on this or have any particular interest in helping with this assessment?
I haven't I haven't seen this that much either, but it definitely looks like it kind of looks like flux a little bit.
Yeah, I see. I think they've, there we go. I was going to say they've done a good job of avoiding the word GitOps, but there it is. Okay. And then the other update we have here is on the Cloud Native Security white paper. Right, that is very much in motion. So this is the third iteration, of course, of TAG Security's technical perspective on cloud native security, with a number of recommendations about how to address security in an organization. I was involved in the first iteration of this, and it's it's an enjoyable collaborative process. So as always, if people are interested, do please just drop your name on the issue. And let's have a quick run through of what happened in North America last week. So we have, so the controls group will update by Cloud Native SecurityCon. just a reminder that Cloud Native Security Con is the day 0, or actually day -1 and day 0 events in Detroit. That is coming up at well, it's coming up in October, which is not too long. So we expect something from there. The supply chain security feedback, sort of interrogation form. Oh, yes, please.
I can talk a bit to this, yeah. So one of the after the supply chain working group completed the reference architecture paper, we were trying to figure out how to do. We kind of like ping pong in between a couple ideas over a course of like a couple of weeks, and then we decided, you know what, like maybe we should just send out a survey, figure out where people are at, rather than trying to hypothesize, oh, is this project gonna use the stuff? You know, are people using like GitHub Actions or like Travis CI or something like that? And we should focus on efforts on that. So the survey is really gonna help inform, you know, what are the tools being used in the community, how is supply chain incidents affecting the community, as well as, you know, which projects are willing to engage now and are willing to put in the time to improve their supply chain security. And the hope is after that, you know, that we have actionable feedback that we can go ahead and kind of scope out a new proposal to do some work.
Super cool. I think one of the things you mentioned before, Brandon, was looking to identify where to make recommendations. So, as you mentioned, there are people using Travis or GitHub Actions. It will be very interesting to observe the results of that study, see what the sort of cloud native proclivity for certain CI, etc. is. And then finally, the white paper issue that we have just looked at as well. And anything else you'd like to add from that side of the department, Brandon?
Not from the main meeting, but I think we spent a little bit on the supply chain meeting, just talking about. So I was in DC last week. Last week or the previous last week, yeah. And I was there for the SBOM coalition, and we talked a little bit about, you know, the where a lot of the government, federal energy sector agencies were, what their struggles with was with SBOM was you know, what their ideas around SBOM and usage and consumption of SBOM look like. So I don't want to rehash everything again, but like the recording is up on YouTube. I remember I didn't really take notes, so what I did was I also like re-listened to my own recording and took my own notes. So yeah, I think I will. The recording's up there. There's a lot of good information there. So if you're interested, you can take a look.
Cool, much appreciated. And hello, Vincent. Would you like to say a few words about the Cube Edge issue?
Yes, hello.
Hi.
Hi. I'd like to check if there's any updates on this issue. Issue about security review of Cube Edge.
So I'm trying to figure out. I saw the issue. I'm trying to figure out where you are with the process of the TOC, because I see two issues: one for sandbox, one for incubation, and both issues don't have that kind of like don't have that much detail. So I want to figure out where we are in the process, whether it's sandbox, incubation, graduation, where are you at right now?
You mean where is the phrase of the Cube Edge?
Yeah, yeah.
We are at the incubation phase and prepare for graduation.
Oh yeah, incubation and preparing for graduation.
Yes,
Um,
as what we know, we need to do security assessment before we start the graduation process.
okay. Do you know who your TOC sponsor is?
Sorry, I don't know.
So I will work towards trying to get the TOC sponsor first. Um, do you know who was your incubation sponsor? Do you remember?
I will find we have the incubation proposal. Let me check. Oh, here, I learned how to spell Elena. Is that right?
And then okay.
Yes.
Okay. So we have couple security reviews kind of staged. I think one of the the first step I think would be to do a self-assessment. So if you go to the self-assessment template, oh, you already have for that. Okay, all right, I see.
Yes, we've already finished it.
So I see. Okay. Um, so what I would recommend first is to create a PR for the self-assessment, and then we can get that reviewed first. We currently have one more project kind of in the queue in front of. So this captain that's kind of in the queue right now, they're also doing an incubation process that requires assessment. The TOC sponsor has requested it. Um, so um, I think the first step for this is, having the self-assessment, creating a pull request. We can get someone to review it, so they'll complete the first step of the assessment. And then while we are finishing up the captain review, the next review, we can just jump straight into the joint review.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I would also, um, if you can create an issue with the graduation, the graduation proposal, and have a TOC sponsor on that, I think it's a lot easier for us to work with, because usually we look to the TOC sponsor to kind of get a sense of like what the idea around security is and how important it is to the evaluation of the project.
Okay, but I'm not sure which should be first finished. Should we first finish the security review or create a proposal on the TOC?
It can be done concurrently.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say don't hold up on the security review. I mean, there are projects that have graduated without a security review, but based on some recommendation from the tag. So depending on kind of how important security is to the project, it could, we want to strive for for all projects completing a security review, but sometimes, because of bandwidth, we may not get to it yet. So I'm also not sure whether there is you're thinking about the security audit, because all graduation projects are also required to go through a security audit. Um, so that's why I think it's probably better if you kind of jumpstart a an issue for the graduation proposal to figure out, see what your TOC sponsor says. Because maybe a security audit is sufficient and a security review may be required or self-assessment may be required.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so I would say the next steps is to create the PR for the self-assessment. And I think that will put us in a good position at least to kind of start the graduation proposal and to say that, you know, you already started the self-assessment. If the TOC sponsor finds that yes, you should do a security review, then we will go ahead with it in the next and add it to the queue. Does it help?
That would be helpful. That would be much helpful.
Cool. Much appreciated, Brandon.
Yeah, slightly related question.
Mhm.
I'm kind of a new member of this group, and I'm just curious that how are these security audits are going? So how are these organized? Is it possible that, for example, I can participate on an audit and learn from that in the future? Or do you have any link to the process?
Yes, 100%. I'll link you through to the repo in a moment. And we really welcome contribution. All you need to do is put your name onto an issue, and you'll be notified when working groups are set up. Brandon, I think, can provide a better answer than I can.
Yeah, so we're just finishing up on one of the we had a a very different security assessment that we did most previously, which was like 4 different projects, and that's why you haven't seen that much activity, because that was like a huge project. But so there's a couple things. I think what Andy said, that we have a guide, a security assessment guide, so that would be kind of the first step to kind of figuring out, you know, a little bit more about the assessments. And then we have, if you go to issues and just like hit the label security like assessment, you see a list. There is also a maybe I should share my screen here. Hold on. Okay. Do you see my screen here? The issues. Yeah. So there is a label for assessment. You can see a bunch of them. This is currently being done. Captain is kind of the next one here. And so this is the list of assessments. And the assessment guide is located in assessments guide. So I would take a read of this, especially on the security review role, and read through, kind of get a better idea of what it is, and what the process is. And then if you're interested in seeing like, okay, what's kind of next in the security review, we have a security review queue. So you see that in progress is Argo, we have Captain, and then you know, that there will be more things added here that we haven't added, with like Cubation, Cubeta. But you can see from here, this is how we're tracking our all security reviews.
And are there any
So
reports for the past audits?
Yeah,
that I can
yeah.
check?
So if you go to assessments again, projects, you have all the list of everything here. Yeah.
Great.
I think
Thanks.
some of them. Yeah, so like South WC, we have just a self-assessment. Some of the some of them we have self-assessment. So what happens is that sometimes you see a pull request, like what we've recommended, Vincent, for KubeEdge. There'll be a pull request. In that case, you can also jump in on that. Usually self-assessments, we just have one reviewer look at it. So that is something that you can also engage with.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Super cool. Is there anything else that people would like to raise or bring up? As I say, we are a little bit light on the ground this week. So there's space if anyone would like to volunteer or raise anything. Okay, I think just in conclusion then, we have had a couple of working sessions on looking at a lightweight threat modeling process. The notes are in the previous couple of iterations. We had some really useful conversation. Ultimately, the Trail of Bits style of Mozilla Rapid Risk Assessment Framework with a template. So the reviewer is guided but not led, perhaps is the way of saying it. Looked to be the most effective. There were discussions around not using too much jargon to ensure that we don't we don't isolate ourselves in a kind of sort of academic paper perspective where the bar to enter the threat modeling process is so high because of jargon and sort of insider wording. And there was some good conversation around time boxing and scoping as well. So I will take the learnings and sort of conversations that we've had and put them into a document, share them on the issue, and then discuss them on next week's call in the America's friendly time zone, with a goal of being able to re-enter the sort of assessment process in as efficient a way as possible. And part of that will also be recommendations for submitters, looking at the kind of documents that they can bring, scoping as to exactly what detail we go into on these assessments. So we can't be exhaustive, of course. A conversation from the tech leads meeting the other day was, we also, of course, will not be doing enterprise deployments of these things. We won't be deploying at massive scale. So we are limited in scope somewhat, but adding the maximum value and essentially being as grateful for the contributors' time and sort of respectful of that time, so that we're as high impact as possible. So that is my 3-minute spiel on the threat modeling process. Unless anybody has anything else that they would like to comment on, or indeed close that one off, we will probably finish in the next minute or so.
Yeah, I think I
Okay,
just want
cool.
to kind
Oh,
of
thank you.
I just wanted to just like I guess kind of just a quick reminder that, like, feel free to open issues, suggestions, half-baked ideas as to what you're working on and what you think it's gonna be, what the group can help with, or just like pain points that you're seeing. I think all ideas are helpful, and we wanna make sure people are comfortable with like suggesting ideas, opening up issues, and all that.
Yeah, 100%. We're powered by the community.
Yep.
Awesome. Okay, we will be I think back to slightly more strength in a couple of weeks. Thanks for your time today, everybody, and a reminder that next week's meeting is on US time at 6 p.m. BST for for those of you for whom that number is relevant. All right, have a fabulous rest of your Wednesday. See you next week.